The needs we share connect us all. The air we breathe, the food we eat and grow, the water that sustains all life, and a little bit of magic and wonder. Sometimes we all feel like a fish out of water or a needle in a haystack, but we are not alone. We are all in the same boat, and when we pull together, it has a powerful effect. When we unite for a common purpose, the strength of our actions are like ripples on a still pond, and they can change the world. We have a pond in our hometown of Washington in the deserts of southern Utah, beloved in past generations. We can assume it was used by early Native Americans because of the nearby petroglyphs. Pioneers to this region recorded their use as they found its 30,000 gallons an hour of fresh water essential to their survival. The town began to grow around this and the nearby water source of springs in Mill Creek Canyon, and our pond became affectionately known as the Boilers. This is because our little pond is fed by pure spring water flowing up in channels through the basin, creating a boiling effect on the sandy bottom. The Boilers was the best swimming hole in southern Utah, and countless numbers of families and children enjoyed respite from the scorching desert heat under the shady cottonwood trees that surrounded its banks. As early as the 1940s, people began throwing their aquarium fish in its warm water, and 13 different species have survived and thrived, along with a few tropical turtles, too. In the early 1960s, the Utah Department of Transportation planned construction of what has become the busiest interstate freeway in the country, and the citizens of Washington were horrified to discover that the freeway would cut off direct access to their beloved Boilers. This created a new problem for the ecology and use of the Boilers. The tall freeway between town and the water source not only created trash, pollution, and noise, but a large visual barrier. Because of this new privacy, unattended and unintended use of this area became more prevalent. It became a popular place for drinking and drug parties. No longer was it a safe place for children to spend lazy summer hours. Trash and debris began building in the water and around the banks, and finally in 1999, Washington City decided that the Boilers were a liability and a biohazard. They fenced it off from public use. Almost 14 years have passed, and the surrounding land has been razed and planed off for commercial property use, but it is frequently used instead as a dumping ground for all kinds of trash and refuse. The Boilers are passed by an average of 41,809 cars and trucks every single day. It is situated right in the middle of a tourist mecca. The Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, the Utah Shakespeare Festival, and even Las Vegas are just a hop, skip, and a jump away. These attractions draw millions of national and international tourists each year. Our county also boasts many outdoor events that have an impressive draw as well. This brings the yearly average of outside visitors to our region to 47,910,490. A mere quarter-mile away from the Boilers sits Mill Creek Canyon. As of today, their combined tourist tally is, well, 0. Mill Creek Canyon was once popular for clear, spring-fed water, gorgeous red cliffs, native tree groves, and wild edible vegetation. Mill Creek Canyon also features bat caves and Native American petroglyphs. It is prone to flash flooding, and as a result is now practically impassable due to jammed logs, branches, and undergrowth. Homes now line portions of the cliff walls, and the canyon is no longer a place where the public can enjoy its beauties. Unfortunately, today we see a much more modern form of rock riding, which has overtaken certain areas of the canyon walls, and it is easy to find the evidence of drinking and drug use in these spots today. These treasures of nature, history, and wildlife are disappearing before our very eyes. They have been badly damaged, but not destroyed. We are afraid that if things don't change, all that will be left of these precious ecosystems are the memories of previous generations. The story of the Boilers and Mill Creek Canyon is either a tragedy or an opportunity. We want to restore, protect, and create a place that fills the needs we all share, those needs that connect us. And we have a plan. Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Make big plans. Aim high in hope and work, remembering that a noble, logical diagram once recorded will never die, but long after we are gone will be a living thing, asserting itself with ever-growing insistency. Let your watchword be order, and your beacon beauty. Think big. Daniel Burnham. Biophilia, an innate and genetically determined affinity of human beings with the natural world. The Boiling Springs Ecoseum and Desert Preserve is a non-profit entity formed in 2012 to address the ecological problems of the Boilers and Mill Creek Canyon. Our purpose is to preserve, protect, and enhance these treasures in our community, to provide responsible public access that sparks a spirit of exploration and engenders a connection to the wonders of nature. Our intent is to use the best of cutting-edge innovation to design facilities, public gardens, waterways, and trail systems in a manner that is not just restorative, but regenerative, operating at a net zero carbon footprint and achieving the highest LEED accreditation status. The purpose of the Boiling Springs Ecoseum and Desert Preserve is to create a place for the local and international community to connect. A place that people are attracted to because of the intrinsic beauty to discover, the rich history to uncover, the educational opportunities to explore, and the artistic displays to enjoy. The Boiling Springs Ecoseum will feature a large conservatory over the boilers to protect the waterway. We intend to restore the boilers to their historic levels, essentially doubling their current size. It will house freshwater fish and coral, recycling waterfalls, an observation grotto, and rainforest-inspired tropical trees and flowers with gorgeous walkways and bridges that provide a myriad of observation points. Radiating wings of the conservatory will house rotating displays of exotic botanical, insect, and animal collections. The adjacent building structure will be up to 4 stories high, providing important noise and visual screening from the freeway. It will house a restaurant on the lower levels, administration offices, and spaces for events and conferences. Each level will have terraces or decks that are planted with gardens culminating in the roof, which will have a screen of tall trees on the freeway side and winding paths through native grasses and flowers with observation stations that allow you to absorb the stunning desert vistas during the day and the glorious stars at night. The restaurant and cafe at the Boiling Springs Ecoseum and Desert Preserve will feature an exotic variety of organic produce grown on site in our gardens and in our production greenhouses. We believe strongly that our closest and most primal association with nature is the food we eat, and a large part of our mission is educating the public about delicious, nutritionally dense food. Just on the other side of I-15 is where we plan to build those production greenhouses. This area will be used primarily for the things most of the public will never see, but it will allow us the flexibility of growing a variety of fruits, vegetables, and herbs year-round. It will also give us areas to propagate and rehabilitate plants for seasonal displays and for the outdoor garden collections. Recycling and composting operations will be housed here as well. Outside of the buildings, we have a vision of creating an exquisite public garden that will boast xeric desertscapes, and a historic pioneer garden. There are several pioneer homes that still stand in our community, but just barely. The careful moving and loving restoration of one of these homes would allow us the opportunity of providing historical demonstrations of early pioneer life and survival, and a traditional pioneer garden. These elements will begin to transition as we move west and the landscape naturally slopes down toward the mouth of Mill Creek Canyon. Here, we will create landscape zones that become progressively more lush in feel. This is also where we will create a rain garden. Not only will this reduce pollution and ensure that we are wisely using every precious drop of rainwater that falls in our desert, but on those blessed days when it rains, the public will be treated to a spectacle as the water falling on all the surfaces begin to culminate and converge into rivulets, small streams, and even waterfalls off the buildings and down the hillside. Instead of erosion creating flash flooding our region is so prone to, we will see and hear a symphony of water flowing through beautiful and artistic pre-designed paths. The base of our hillside is already a small marshy area. We will pond it up and increase the size of this zone to create a mini wetland populated with native fish, frogs, birds, butterflies, and insects. The Desert Preserve begins at the entrance of Mill Creek Canyon. The current trail only extends about 100 yards or so before the undergrowth and problems from previous flash flooding makes it difficult to navigate. Here too is an opportunity to carefully create flood plans and cisterns to deal with those times when the creek bed becomes overwhelmed with rainwater. Clearing out the dead underbrush will reduce downstream pollution and wildfire hazards. It will also allow us to create a beautiful trail system that allows the public to enjoy, interact, and explore all this canyon has to offer without destroying it. In the canyon, we will have educational way stations that teach about the animal life, we will protect and display the petroglyphs and show the ways Native Americans survived in this harsh climate. We will educate about the wild edible vegetation that already grows in the canyon and the preservation of these species and the native trees that thrive there. As we progress up the canyon, there are also opportunities for an outdoor amphitheater, providing a fabulous place for lectures, concerts, and community theater productions. Mill Creek Canyon ties into a trail system that leads to other amazing recreational and educational opportunities as well. The mission has to be clear. It has to be bigger than any one person's capacity. It has to lift the people's vision. It has to be something that makes each person feel that he or she can make a difference. Peter Drucker. This is our mission: to preserve and protect the habitat and ecology, the ability for the public to interact responsibly with nature, the history of our region. To innovate in areas of green technology and application, in areas of habitat restoration, in areas of nutritionally dense food production. To inspire a connection to nature, cultural unity, and creative expression. The needs we share connect us all. The air we breathe, the food we eat and grow, the water that sustains all life, and a little bit of magic and wonder. We can do that. At the end of the day, it's all about people. It's all about how we connect to our past, how we connect to our planet, how we connect to future generations, and most importantly, how we connect to each other. We need you. Join us.